What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here to break down the big question heading into the AFC Championship. Who has the advantage? Is it Tom Brady and the New England Patriots offense, or is it the Jacksonville Jaguars and their all-time great shutdown defense? It's the classic question, offense versus defense. Who has the advantage in this AFC Championship? So let's start off with looking at these teams statistically. First, the New England Patriots offense. They ranked first in yardage this season, second in points, second in passing yardage, and 10th running the football. They also averaged 29 points per game at home, which is where this game will be played. It will be played in the comfy confines of Gillette Stadium in New England. While the Jacksonville Jaguars defense ranked second yards, second points, first against the pass, and 21st against the run. Both of these teams led the league in points per drive, respectively, offensively, defensively. Patriots scored a league-high 2.6 points per drive, and the Jaguars gave up a league-low 1.2 points per drive. Now, some matchups that I expect to see. On the outside, when it comes to the receivers, I take a look, and it's Chris Hogan, it's Brandon Cooks for the New England Patriots. And most of the time, I think we're going to see Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye take these guys, play in and play out. Now, they don't really follow people. Jalen Ramsey doesn't follow a receiver. A.J. Bouye doesn't follow a receiver. A lot of people assume this, but that's not really the case. These guys stay on the same one side of the field for most of the game. As we saw last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown often lined up on the left side of the formation to face A.J. Bouye, while Jalen Ramsey often lined up on the opposite side to take whoever was there on the opposite side of the formation. Either way, you have to look at this matchup and say, hey, the Jaguars have the advantage here. This is a great cornerback combination, two of the best corners in the league, versus two good receivers, but not great receivers. Then in the slot, you have Danny Amendola versus Aaron Colvin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colvin is that third corner of the Jacksonville Jaguars that doesn't get a lot of press. He doesn't get talked about much. Danny Amendola, on the other hand, is a solid contributor to the Patriots offense. And this is going to be a matchup that I think the Patriots will attack. This is a matchup in the slot in the middle of the field where I feel like Jacksonville, they've given up some yardage in this matchup previously. And I feel like Amendola may have a good game in this one. That's a matchup to watch if you're a Patriots fan. Now, the big matchups really come down to, of course, who is covering Gronk? That's always the question when it comes to the New England Patriots. Who's covering Gronk? So for me, when I look at it for the Jacksonville Jaguars, oftentimes Myles Jack takes the number one tight end of the opposing team when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And in this game, I think Myles Jack will be the one to cover Gronk, but I also believe that he'll have help of some sort on most plays. So whether that's Barry Church or Tashawn Gibson, one of the safeties on the Jacksonville Jaguars will be giving Myles Jack help against Rob Gronkowski. Myles Jack is very athletic. He's able to stay with Rob Gronkowski when it comes to running down the field. It's just a little bit of a question mark. Jack is a very small linebacker. He is not very big and physical. So it's going to be interesting to see what Gronk can do against a smaller linebacker when Gronk is just absolutely massive. And the tough thing about Gronk is he's so big, but he's also so good at getting down the field with speed, and he's so savvy in his routes that it's always difficult to stop him. That's why I think it takes more than one guy to slow him down, even for this Jacksonville defense. Now, people have been talking about potentially putting a guy like Jalen Ramsey on him. The only time I actually think that's going to happen is when he splits out wide. Occasionally, Rob Gronkowski will split out wide, and in that case, I think that he will split out wide against A.J. Bouye and Jalen Ramsey, and whoever is on that side of the field will end up taking Gronk on the outside of the field. But that's the only time. And then the other big matchup that is kind of flying under the radar for a lot of people is the running back matchup of the New England Patriots. How do you cover the running backs of the New England Patriots? That's always, one of these things that slips right under the radar. But these three guys out of the backfield, Dion Lewis, James White, and Rex Burkhead, are all three very good receivers. Now, for me, because of the fact that Myles Jack is going to be covering Rob Gronkowski, I think Telvin Smith will be covering the running back. Paul Povzlesny, when it's in base defense, will also have to cover a running back, which I think is also a very intriguing matchup for the Patriots to take advantage of. But I think Telvin Smith versus the running back of the Patriots is the big matchup to pay attention to outside of Rob Gronkowski. Now let's go to the argument for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars defense features a whole bunch of studs and just absolute athletic freaks. Jalen Ramsey, AJ Bouye, this makes up the best combination of corners in the NFL. Calais Campbell and Yannick Ngakoue, they're the best pass rush combo, or at least one of them in the entire NFL. You have Super Bowl champion Malik Jackson, linebackers Telvin Smith, Miles Jack, and safeties Barry Church and Sean Gibson. There's talent everywhere across the board on this defense. The question is, can talent overcome the GOAT and the scheme of the Patriots? Luckily, if there is anyone who has ever had success against the New England Patriots and their offense and Tom Brady, it's the man in the Jacksonville Jaguars front office. That's Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin, who I'm sure will give the Jacksonville Jaguars a few pointers on how to attack Tom Brady like he did back in 2011 and 2007 when he was a member and head coach of the New York Giants back when they won those Super Bowls. So Tom Coughlin could actually play a factor into this game when game planning against Tom Brady. How big of a factor is unknown, but I'm sure that he will be helping his team to find success against the Patriots. The Jaguars on paper have the pass rush. They were second in the NFL in sacks. Ngakoue had 12 sacks, and on 7 of those sacks, he forced a fumble. Calais Campbell led the team in sacks. This D-line is strong, and really, if they're going to have a shot in winning this game, it's probably not going to be because Blake Bortles has an outstanding performance. It's going to be because the Jacksonville Jaguars defense comes to play and shuts down Tom Brady. It's going to be difficult in Gillette Stadium especially, but they can do it. The Coughlin game plan often consisted of a strong 4-man rush. That's what I expect to see from the Jaguars in this game. Is they're going to try and send 4 guys at the quarterback, 4 guys at Tom Brady, and they're going to try and play heavy coverage defense. Also, a big thing and a big part of the Coughlin game plan was his X factor Justin Tuck, who was a defensive end for the New York Giants, but would often play defensive tackle as an interior pass rusher against the Patriots. So who is going to be that guy as the interior pass rusher to get after Tom Brady? Is it going to be Calais Campbell moved inside? Or is it going to be the guy that was on the Denver Broncos, Malik Jackson, just a couple seasons ago to play Tom Brady? Maybe Malik Jackson is the X factor here on getting a pass rush on Tom Brady. The trouble with the Jacksonville Jaguars is they don't shift a lot from what they do, and they don't do a lot. Bill Belichick said himself that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they play what they play. Belichick said that the Jacksonville Jaguars don't do a ton, but what they do well. The Jaguars are a defense who aren't going to confuse you. You just need to execute against what they give you. So, in other words, the Jaguars don't go out there and they don't throw a ton of blitzes at you. They don't throw a ton of coverages at you. But what they do well. A lot of that is a cover 3 match defense, which we've seen a lot from teams like the Seattle Seahawks in the past, and even the Atlanta Falcons. And even against the best of these type of defenses, the Patriots have come out on top. Against the 2014 Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl, this was a very similar cover 3 oriented defense. For the Jaguars to win, they will need to have turnovers. They cannot rely on their offense to score 38 points again. They need to chip in, which they've been able to do impressively this season, by the way. They've had 8 or 9 defensive touchdowns this year. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, if there's any defense that could potentially slow down the Patriots, it could be the Jaguars. They have a ton of playmakers, they have great talent, and they have a guy in the front office that has experience against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. That's the case for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the case for the New England Patriots. The Patriots have one of the most versatile attacks in the NFL. It's led by, of course, number 12, Tom Brady, and coached by Josh McDaniels. The Patriots have a plethora of weapons. At wide receiver, they have Brandon Cooks, Chris Hogan, Danny Amendola. Those are the core players. At tight end, the best in the game, Rob Gronkowski, and running backs, Lewis, White, and Burkhead, with also a solid offensive line to protect Tom Brady. The weakness of the Jaguars defense has been covering running backs and tight ends this season. The strength of this defense is in their cornerbacks, A.J. Bouye and Jalen Ramsey. In games at which the Jaguars lost or gave up the most points in their games this season, they played the Tennessee Titans, San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Arizona Cardinals. These are an example of 5 games that I took to try and see what the statistics were for tight ends and running backs. And unsurprisingly, this was overwhelmingly the way to attack the Jacksonville Jaguars through the air. Now, looking at these statistics, in Week 17 versus the Tennessee Titans, they gave up 8 of their 12 total completions that Mariota had in that game for 109 yards and a touchdown to running backs or tight ends. Against the Los Angeles Chargers, which was a game that went to overtime, the Chargers completed 13 of the 21 total completions for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. The San Francisco 49ers, who upset the Jacksonville Jaguars with Kyle Shanahan at the helm and Jimmy Garoppolo, 12 completions for 21 attempts total. Remember, this is of the total completions that the team had, 145 yards and a touchdown. Arizona completed 16 of its 22 completions to running backs and tight ends for 155 yards and a touchdown. And Pittsburgh, just as of last week, completed 20 passes to tight ends or running backs of their 37 total completions for 212 yards and a touchdown. Players to have big games against the Jacksonville defense have included Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers, Seals Jones of the Arizona Cardinals, Kyle Juszczyk of the 49ers, Vance McDonald of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and also Kittle of the 49ers. You would never say that these players are better than Dion Lewis, James White, Rob Gronkowski, or Rex Burkhead. They're just role players, but they had big games against the Jacksonville defense because of the matchup that they pose against this defense. The Jaguars have at times been susceptible to the run game as well this year, ranking 21st against the run as a unit. They do tend to send some crazy blitzes and stunts, which do open up a lot of running lanes for gashing runs. We saw this against the Steelers. They sent some corner blitzes, and they just do these stunts that allow teams to take advantage of it right up the middle for runs. Le'Veon Bell had a couple of those, and we've seen games where they have lost, like against the New York Jets, where they were ran on very well earlier in the season. We could also see a combination of some play action, which the 49ers did really well against Jacksonville. The Patriots, they might also decide to go up-tempo, like they did last week versus Tennessee, because Tennessee, they knew, didn't rotate their defensive line very much. They tired the Tennessee Titans out. And as we know, and as even Bill Belichick brought up in his press conference, the Jacksonville Jaguars don't do a ton of substituting. They may keep in Paul Posluszny on the field for first and second down to stop the run, and then they take Posluszny out and put Colvin on the field as their slot corner. Maybe they want to keep Posluszny on the field so that they can take advantage of that matchup in the passing game. So that's something also to be aware of. Will the Patriots go up-tempo and keep Jacksonville off balance and keep them in those defenses? And although the Jaguars defense has looked dominant throughout the season, this is also a defense that has given up 40 points 2 times in the last 3 weeks. This has all the makings of an epic clash between offense and defense. I can't wait to watch it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My money is on, in an era that is driven by offense, for the Patriots offense to have the slight edge in this matchup. I believe that if there's any offense that can take advantage of the Jaguars' defensive woes and their weaknesses, it is the New England Patriots. The Pittsburgh Steelers did a great job of scoring against the Jaguars. Their defense didn't show up, and that is why they lost. For me, the Patriots will come better prepared, but also when it comes to just the Patriots offense versus the Jacksonville defense, I think the Patriots will take a little bit of what all these teams did very well and utilize that to their advantage in this AFC Championship game. That's just my guess. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to bring in this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and more NFL content on the way. It's Mitch. Peace out.